The person that we are doing our presentation on is Henry Ford. He was a businessman during the time period of the Industrial Revolution. He was born in 1863 and died in 1947, at the age of 83. He worked towards perfecting the assembly line in factories and mass production. He founded the Ford Company that we see today. His parents were William Ford and Mary Littagott Ford, and he lived on a farm near Detroit, Michigan. He grew up on that farm and helped his family. He had no formal schooling, and in his 20s he went off to work as an apprentice machinist and worked for different businesses in the city of Detroit. He married his wife Clara Bryant in 1888 and they had one son, Edsel Ford, in 1893. His son ran the Ford business with him and eventually he took over running the business after Henry Ford no longer was able to. The Ford business is still run by Ford family members. Henry Ford eventually returned to his hometown and worked as an engineer before starting a company with cars. He tried and failed in companies many times. He started a new company again with new people before he was finally able to create a car that he liked. It was his own designs and he made the cars affordable and cheap enough to mass produce and sell in the market. He enhanced the assembly line and the process of mass production. Henry Ford built a car that was more efficient and cheaper than anything that was being made during that time. That increased the supply of products that were made using the assembly line. Products were then cheaper so more people could buy them. He not only made cars more affordable, but also more people could be employed to make cars. This helped in a time period where cars were being used more often for transportation and also gave many people jobs during the Great Depression, a time when there were not many jobs available. Long-term, it stimulated the economy and helped it grow because people who were making money could afford a car and more people could move around and transport things more easily. The Ford Company continues to make cars and trucks to this day. Henry Ford started his business during the time period of the Industrial Revolution. Some interesting facts about Henry Ford include: during Christmas time he would dress up like Santa and give sleigh rides to children in the area where he lived. He was a strong advocate of business. He believed that international business and trade would lead to world peace. Some people described him as a globalist. During World War II, Henry Ford enabled his factories to produce at a peak, 1 warplane per hour per factory, higher than any other business factories could have produced. Some surprising and not lesser-known facts include: a document of biographies published by a Freemason lodge listed Ford as a member of the Freemasons. Ford was fond of Thomas Edison, and on Edison's deathbed, he demanded that Edison's son catch his final breath in a tube. That tube can still be seen in the Henry Ford Museum. He was awarded the Grand Cross of the German Eagle from Nazi Germany, an award usually only given to foreigners who associated themselves with the Nazi cause. Ford was also the only American mentioned in the book, Mein Kampf. He was the publisher, but possibly not the writer, of an anti-Semitic book called The International Jew. He also had other writings against Jews during the time period of World War II. Many thought that he did not like Jews or was prejudiced against them in some ways. No matter whether people agree or disagree with his strategies, his business, or his ideas, Henry Ford was a man that worked hard and was able to develop the ideas for an assembly line and production. He started a business that changed many economies and methods of transportation that moved around the world. The influence from some of those ideas of mass production can still be found today, years after he started his successful company and the Model T automobile.